On behalf of the Cabangan family and the ALC Media Group, we give thanks to the Lord for allowing us to continue the story started 30 years ago by my father, the late Ambassador and Chairman Emeritus of the ALC Group of Companies, Antonio L. Cabangon Chua. It is the story of how a small magazine got built on the strength of an incomparable friendship between a man of business and a man of words. This is the story of how they both cherished literature and vowed to nurture excellent literary works in the pages of the magazine. Through the best of times and the worst of times, we continue this story. This is the story of the Philippines Graphic.
bagyo, lindol, volcanic eruption, pagbaha, at iba pang mga delubyo at kalamidad. Ilan lamang ito sa mga hirap na kinakaharap natin dala ng climate emergency at planetary crisis. O marahil, dala ng ating kapabayaan. Dahil pinayagan natin ang walang puknat na pagmimina, illegal logging at quarrying, coal at fossil fuel operations. Sinira natin ang karagatan dahil sa basura at illegal fishing. Maging ang ating coral reef ay namamatay na rin. Subalit may pag-asa pa kung tayo ay magtutulungan. Ipagtanggol natin ang karapatan ng kalikasan. Ipaglaban natin ang ating nag-iisang tahanan. Samahan ninyo kami sa Caritas Philippines sa ating pag-aalay sa kalikasan.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Philippines Graphics webinar titled Foundations, Finding Meaning in the Next Normal. I am your host, Andrew De La Cruz, Editor-at-Large of Philippines Graphic. To give the opening remarks, here is the publisher of Philippines Graphic and Business Mirror, Mr. T. Anthony C. Cabangon.
Good morning. Corporate giving has strong roots in the Philippines. Its origins can be traced to the long tradition of the generosity of wealthy families who actively donated to church welfare activities. From the 1960s to the 1990s, this notion of philanthropy went through a process of revisioning with the rise of activism and social discontent. After years of discussion and experimentation, the concept of corporate citizenship has emerged to provide the raison d'etre engaging in philanthropy. Nowadays, corporate foundations have identified that they want to concentrate on. The past years have seen foundations taking the lead in alleviating the challenges brought about not only by natural disasters but by the COVID-19 pandemic as well. This morning, we have invited three special guests who will talk about the challenges that their foundations faced at the height of the COVID-19 pandemic and whether this has affected their mission, vision, and goals as an organization. We hope that through this webinar, we will learn more about their work and how, in our own little way, can support these very worthwhile endeavors. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Boss Anton. As mentioned, this webinar is about corporate foundations and the impact the pandemic has had on the work that they do. Like our previous webinars, we have special giveaways lined up for today, so please stay tuned. Okay, our first guest holds various leadership positions. First and foremost, she is the president of the PHAPCares Foundation and a trustee of the Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Association of the Philippines. It is also a pleasure to know that she is the first Filipina country president of AstraZeneca Pharmaceuticals Philippines Incorporated. She is likewise country president sponsor of the AstraZeneca Asia Area Marketing Excellence and board of director and sustainability committee chair of the Nordic Chamber of Commerce. Showing her leadership during this difficult time of the pandemic, AstraZeneca received the Asia Country of the Year for Outstanding Performance, Nordic Chamber Innovation Business Partner of the Year, and Top Community Centric Companies in Asia from the Asia Corporate Excellence and Sustainability Leaders Award. She was named 2021 Woman of the Year by the American Association of the Philippines, this year's Top 50 Rising Tiger Nation Builder by the Asia Leaders Awards, and she also received the 2022 Inspiring Filipina Special Recognition Award from the Philippine Center for Entrepreneurship. Here is Miss Lotis Ramin. Good morning, Miss Lotis.
Good morning, Anne, and good morning, everyone. It is my honor to be here with you today, also with our colleagues from SM and Caritas Foundations, tackling this very interesting and relevant topic. So, if I can have my presentation, please. So, the pandemic has actually taught us many lessons, no? Just like what Anthony mentioned earlier, one of which is the power of working together to find solutions amidst times of uncertainties, addressing both emerging and ongoing issues. We have witnessed many people and organizations stepping up with the noble intent of helping the community, and as we navigate and try to live today with the virus, it is important to take these valuable lessons of innovation and collaboration with us. Next slide, please. So please allow me at that note to introduce the foundation that I represent, and that is the PHAPCares Foundation. PHAPCares is the collective corporate social responsibility arm of the Pharmaceutical and Healthcare Association of the Philippines, or PHAP. PHAP represents research-based R&D or R&D companies manufacturing and developing medicines and vaccines for the country and globally. We are at the forefront of R&D efforts for COVID-19 diagnostics, vaccines, and treatments, and for other diseases as well that impact Filipinos. Next slide, please. In 2003, the PHAPCares Foundation was established to help improve the health and lives of Filipinos disadvantaged by sickness, poverty, conflicts, health emergencies, and disasters. And through the years, we have evolved into one organization whose vision is to be a partner of choice of government and other institutions as a leader in sustainable healthcare, emergency response, and the practice of strategic investments for social development. We are very pleased to share that for the past 19 years, PHAPCares has been partnering with multiple government agencies to support them in providing assistance to the Filipino people. Our goals, as mentioned, include enabling sustainable healthcare, which is very important today, implementing meaningful healthcare strategies and emergency response, as well as be the CSR partner of choice by our members and our partners. Next slide, please. And you'll see that PHAPCares membership actually consists of 25 well-established and trusted healthcare organizations with capabilities in manufacturing, distribution, and retail of diagnostics, medicines, and vaccines. And with this composition of our membership, next slide, please, we believe that during this pandemic, PHAPCares Foundation is in a unique position to respond to this very serious health emergency. We launched the campaign, We Will Not Rest, and this effort was aimed at helping to protect frontliners and communities that were affected by the pandemic. In the first months of the pandemic in 2020, a truly difficult period for all of us, PHAP members came together and donated at least 120 million worth of assistance, both in kind and in medicines, to various hospitals and communities throughout the country. Under the campaign, we have donated PPEs to 38 government and private hospitals, NGOs, and health institutions nationwide. And since this pandemic was declared the Foundation has exerted efforts to overcome challenges brought about by lockdowns and limited mobility. We know that health facilities and communities were seriously impacted by COVID-19. And there were communities that were hit by volcanic eruptions, earthquakes, and typhoons at the same time. And so we continued with our donations and relief operations against all odds. The PHAPCares team personally brought donations even when roads were closed, for example, in Zamboanga and Marawi cities. With our membership, we leverage on our supply chain expertise together with our partners for us to send this humanitarian support to affected communities. And during the pandemic, we also maximize online platforms to help spread accurate health information. We know that at the height of the pandemic, there was a lot of misinformation, and we needed to counter that because we believe that the right information given at the right time can help save lives. And since PHAPCares really advocates health information, we partnered with DOH and other government agencies in battling vaccine hesitancy and restoring vaccine confidence. As we know, vaccines are safe and effective, and these vaccines help save lives and are also vital in helping us get back to work and recover as a country. Next slide, please. Now, building on that, independent of the pandemic, PHAPCares has core programs that has been ongoing and will continue to evolve and clustered into three key categories. The first is sustainable healthcare. This is where we look into adoption of communities in geographically isolated and disadvantaged areas, or GIDAs, where we know that there are times when these remote locations could be a disadvantage, especially if one needs to see a doctor or a clinic in a hospital. So we want to be able to serve these communities. And for our work in GIDAs, we are honored to have received a presidential citation for supporting the government in deploying more than 100 nurses in remote villages throughout the country. Today, the project is focused at San Emilio, which is a fourth-class municipality in the province of Ilocos Sur. Our role here is to help and empower the community to take charge of their own health by providing information and health services for school children and their parents. Among the support also provided are lectures on water, sanitation and hygiene, oral health, teenage pregnancy, and HIV/AIDS, which are very serious issues. The results are encouraging for the past 3 years, and this model adopted in San Emilio had shown that the collaboration between PHAPCares and the LGU enabled provision of a full continuum of care. In this program, we do not only provide health services to the community, but we also help them build capabilities to own the program later on so that it becomes sustainable. And then our next core program is focused on access to medicines and emergency response. Under this are medicine donations to appropriate requesting organizations and medical outreach to communities needing medical attention. I am very pleased to report that since PHAPCare's founding, we have provided more than 1 billion worth of medicine donations for use of the sick, marginalized, and victims of conflicts and disasters. PHAP and PHAPCares are organizations that value integrity, and this translates to medicine donations of our members. Our medicine donation program has actually earned us the government's Gawad Kalasag Award as part of our quick disaster response. And we have also published a book called Good Medicine Donation Practice to guide donors as well as to communities receiving medicines as donations. This book helps ensure that donated medicines and vaccines comply with the highest quality, safety, and ethical standards. Also under this core program is the ELSARO, or Earthquake and Landslide Search and Rescue Orientation course. We partner with MMDA to undertake this certification and training program with our members LGUs, and communities. And as of today, very proud to share that we have trained and certified more than 500 or 564 people to be exact who have been empowered to serve as rescuers should the need arise. And last but not the least, under this core program is social development, where we focus on CSR. CSR for special population, where we spend a day with special population groups, including the elderly, abused women, and orphan children. And also in the spirit of volunteerism, we also asked our members to donate some of their time as a form of engagement and volunteer work. More importantly, this CSR aspect in the pharmaceutical industry allows us in the foundation to collectively contribute and make meaningful impact to the society together. Next slide, please. And so moving forward, we want to learn from our experience from the pandemic and continue to take these lessons with us. First, we learned that health is critical and has wider implications, and that it must be prioritized. We must also invest in health if we were to prepare for the next or future health challenges. These facts emphasize the need for sustainable healthcare through a whole systems approach. We must be able to strengthen health building blocks and look at all the elements to form a connected healthcare ecosystem. We will soon pilot a multi-stakeholder collaboration project to model these healthcare ecosystem solutions. Second, we also learn the value of creativity and innovation. With this, we want to continue to innovate in our approach and ways of working to further leverage and collaboration with our members, partners, and stakeholders, including government and the media, to continue to pursue our noble intentions. And finally, we are very proud of all the meaningful work that our members are doing, collectively or individually as organizations. And so this year, PHAPCares will be awarding our members that would exemplify sustainability and innovation in their CSR initiatives. This is our way to showcase, recognize, and encourage them more to continue the noble mission of helping the Philippine society. And across all programs, we recognize that we cannot do it alone. The value of partnership is truly important. And with collaboration, we do believe that we can do more together. Last slide, please. So with that note, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and members of the PHAPCares Foundation, thank you for this opportunity to present our foundation and its initiatives. We are with you in battling the pandemic and other challenges that impact the lives and health of the Filipino people. Thank you again. Maraming salamat, and I look forward to your questions.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Lotis, for that presentation. Um, I just have to ask, what is your criteria in choosing a GIDA or your city partners?
So thanks for that very important question because this is a key program for PHAPCares Foundation. So we do have a wide range of criteria, which includes need assessment, impact, and shared governance. So the first criteria is the need assessment, where we conduct an assessment of the current health status of the community, and we
Okay.
use that as a baseline. And then with that, we create health objectives that we also use to track our progress. The
Mhm.
second criteria, of course, is the impact, where we assess in which areas can PHAPCares Foundation and our partners support the community. No? This is where we look at our expertise, resources, and partners and match them with the needs that we have assessed. And finally, a very important criteria is shared governance with our GIDA partner or the city partner.
Mhm.
This builds on the sustainability aspect because it should be a joint responsibility where we all have our respective tasks to make the project implementation successful. As mentioned earlier, no, we want to do the project within a certain period of time and later on hand it over to either the LGU or the GIDA community, which will make it more sustainable.
Okay. And then you also mentioned earlier about the earthquake landslide search and rescue orientation course. Who should participate in this kind of training?
So it's actually everyone, right,
Okay.
that should participate. And we know that Philippines, being in the Pacific Ring of Fire, we are vulnerable to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. We just experienced one recently, right? And so we are offering ELSA Rock to our members so that they can better respond in times of disaster and also
Mm.
enhance their emergency response plans. It's a 3-day training program with lectures and actual simulations, right? We also partner with LGUs, other foundations, and organizations because we do believe that, as I said, everyone or anyone can be rescuers when
Mhm.
properly trained. And as I mentioned earlier, we're very proud that to date, 564 people have been certified from various industries, which can be helpful in the most crucial times.
Okay, just one more question, Ms. Lotis. Why are sustainability and innovation crucial moving forward from the pandemic?
Oh, this question is very relevant. We've seen through the pandemic that how the value of innovation and collaboration in healthcare in particular has been amplified. For instance, innovation. We know that the vaccines were a product of innovation and research and development, and
Mhm.
they were crucial to us recovering from the pandemic, and being able to operate as we operate today, which we couldn't imagine or picture in 2020 when the pandemic started. The other piece is the value of collaboration, private public partnership, different stakeholders working together, leveraging on our respective capabilities to find solutions amidst uncertainties where we don't have answers, right? During situations when we feel like we're flying the plane as we're building them, this working together is very important. And the next piece that I really want to highlight here is the importance of a strong and resilient healthcare system. This has been the ongoing focus of R&D based companies like our members. For instance, in AstraZeneca, my primary organization, we are working with our partners to leverage on artificial intelligence so that we can drive earlier diagnosis of lung cancer, very serious disease, hoping to improve survival outcomes of cancer patients. Now, this is just one example of the many innovative and noble initiatives of our industry, right? And PHAPCares at that. We welcome partnership both from private, public stakeholders so that we can together build sustainable healthcare system that address not just current health challenges but also prepares us for future public health emergencies, which is what happened recently, because as I said earlier, we firmly believe that together we can do more in finding meaning in the next normal.
Okay, thank you so much, Miss Lotis. So, if you have any questions, audience, for our speakers, we will have a question and answer portion after all our guests have presented. Okay, so our next speaker is the Executive Director for Education of SM Foundation Incorporated. Now on its 39th year, SMFI carries out its corporate social responsibility in various areas of advocacy, namely education, health, sustainable farming, outreach programs, and religious community projects. Our speakers team handles the program on education, a college scholarship program that maintains 1,300 college scholars nationwide and has over 3,800 graduates, a technical vocational scholarship program which has over 4,000 graduates, and the SM School Building Program, which puts up two-story, four-classroom school buildings in public elementary and secondary schools. Here is Ms. Carmen Linda M. Atayde, the Executive Director for Education of SM Foundation Incorporated. Good morning, Ms. Linda.
Good morning, Anne. Good morning, Anne. Good morning to the followers of the Philippines Graphic and Business Mirror and its other companies, the avid followers of of foundations and interested to know more about how our foundations handled the pandemic, especially, particularly. And fellow presenters, good morning. I'm here to make a presentation of SM Foundation and give its stories also. May I have the first slide, please? Yes. And then go to our story, please. Second, our story again. And then the next one, please. Our story started in the story of SMFI or SM Foundation started in 1983 when Mr. Henry C. Sr. was looking for ways to help so many sectors in society, those sectors that need access to education, healthcare, livelihood, and sustaining our environment. So this was started by Mr. Henry C. Sr. and his wife Felicidad C. The SM Foundation was established to help improve the quality of Filipinos by doing its share in providing access to quality education, healthcare, farmers training, and relief during disasters. And since 1983, SM Foundation, guided and inspired by the SM Group of Companies, has been implementing various social good programs in areas where it operates. It is focused on improving the lives of Filipinos through its programs in education, health and wellness, sustainable agriculture, and as a relief provider during personal disasters. Social good corporate social responsibility has been practiced by the group, especially in the areas where it operates. Our vision. Our next slide, please. Our vision and mission. Our vision is a Philippines where everyone has the opportunity for self-improvement and its environment is sustained for future generations. Our mission is to make targeted social investments in education, healthcare, livelihood, and shelter to help underserved Filipinos improve their lives, and we will promote initiatives to protect and enhance the Philippines' unique and diverse ecological heritage. We will do this by working directly with communities and to give them the assistance they require by leveraging our corporate assets to secure resources and build awareness and by engaging with strong partners to create programs that promote a cycle of positive change. I believe one of our partners is one of the presenters here, Caritas. And our next slide, please. The social good and the new normal. Amidst the pandemic, we at SM Foundation ensured the continuity of our programs by adapting to the so-called new normal of accomplishing things. I'm proud to say that no calamity could deter your team, SMFI, in spreading social good. Thanks to the group's collective efforts and through sustained collaboration with our partners, we were able to even multiply the impact in sustainability of our projects. Next slide. Rise to Greatness was a theme recently for the event where we awarded scholarships to incoming freshmen, and we presented some scholars who were issued their certificates of being part of the SM Foundation through the scholarship program. Next slide, please. There were activities due to the pandemic. There were activities that were conducted online, so we were able to show the launching of the solar panels in one school as a model, and this was donated by the partnership with Maxion. And you can see that you can see the view of the installation of this panel. The solar panels are expected to give the schools a relief on the payment of electric bills, and also for the students they were able to conduct even conduct their online sessions even without electricity, the usual electricity, because they got the electric power from the solars already, solar panels. Next slide, please. As part of our development communication strategy, we use the power of social media to share our social good news. And Philippines Graphics is one of our supporters. At SMFI, we don't limit ourselves in just executing and innovating our social good projects. We also continuously innovate our communication tools. We believe that execution of good projects should also be paired with effective development communication tools from start to finish. That is, from communicating through community consultations up to sharing our social good stories in both additional and digital channels. We believe that end to end communication efforts present proof of a company's commitment to sustainable social development. If your communication strategy is well contextualized and authentic, your social good program can unite various institutions in spreading social good, which is in turn multiplies impact. And the next slide, we're going to present our social good programs. The next slide, please. And we will show you the accomplishments under our school building program through the numbers. Through the years starting in 2002, we have built and donated 103 school buildings with 346 classrooms built. These school buildings come complete with uh, um, furniture, the armchairs, complete with toilet. The classrooms are with toilets already, and also we supply the lights and electric fans, and also wall clocks. And some school buildings of ours contain little mini libraries and a place where counseling can be made. So in other words, we provided the, the buildings, classrooms conducive to learning, both for the teachers to teach and for the students to learn. Under our health and medical program, next slide please. Oh, that's the school building. Next slide. The health and medical programs. Since 2002, the health and medical programs have assisted 4.3 million patients, and they were served in 178 SM health centers and SM wellness centers. All in all, a total of 1.2 million patients were treated in 1,535 medical missions conducted by SM Foundation. By the way, the SM Foundation now has 5 mobile clinics, and these are serving the country. So there are mother, there are 5 mobile clinics serving Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao, and NCR regions. In the during the medical missions, there are experts there who conduct X-rays and other basic laboratory blood exams. And so our next, by the way, under its health and medical programs, SMFI has also upgraded public health centers in its host communities, complemented by its medical caravans across the country. Our next program has to do with sustaining agriculture, kabalikat sa kabuhayan on sustainable agricultures. This program has trained 28,550 farmers, trained from 3,397 barangays in 916 municipalities and cities. The program has also launched the Kabalikat sa Kabuhayan Farmers Market Day in more than 40 SM malls nationwide. This program intends to bring modern and sustainable farming skills in both rural and urban communities, providing farmers and their families with food security and agri-based economic opportunities. This year, we've launched the Farmers Market Day in order for our SMKSK farmers to showcase and sell their safe and quality locally grown vegetables and fruits to the SM Mall customers. To date, the KSK booths have been launched in more than 40 SM malls nationwide. This is actually a result of the pandemic since food has been hard to procure, and so the farmers who graduated from the Kabalikat sa Kabuhayan farming training were able to sell their products in the SMOs. They were given the opportunity to bring their 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 harvests to the SMOs and sell them at prices affordable by the general public and by those who want to get their food uh, quickly. The, one more program by which um, SM Foundation is committed to is attention given to victims of calamities, and we call this the Operation Tulong Express. And to date, Kalinga packs. These are packs of basic items that are needed right after the calamity occurs. The 741,216 Kalinga packs were distributed during the 546 OPTE runs. And this is also a collaboration of SM Foundation, this Operation Tulong Express under SM Foundation, collaboration with the SM malls, SM stores, SM department, and SM supermarkets, and SM Save More outlets. This is a collaboration of all the teams there during calamities. That's why it's very easy for the these packs to reach the victims of calamities, because we have SM centers in practically all the principal areas and cities in the country. That in that way, the SM Foundation is able to fulfill its mandate to be there as soon as the calamity occurs. Their presence should be felt by way of their helping with relief goods, helping the calamity victims with their relief goods. And next slide, please. The social good is also achieved in collaboration with partners. Our partners are from the government, uh, private sectors, and individuals and other institutions who are very willing and who have also committed themselves to help whenever and wherever SM Foundation needs volunteers. We advocate partnerships under our this collaborate social good campaign. At SM, we believe that collaboration can drive growth and become a force for good in addressing socialized challenges. CSR partnerships can create solutions that improve society by fostering learning, promoting innovation, and gaining access to new technologies. CSR collaboration can pool resources, both financial and human resources, between multiple organizations, which can amplify social good impact. At this point, may I show you a summary of our social good pillars through this video. May we show the video, please? You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at sm.foundation, at SM Foundation Incorporated, www.sm-foundation.org. Thank you very much. I'm ready for your questions.
Thank you so much, Miss Linda. We'll go to our question and answer portion later, Miss Linda.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. And then I'd like to give a shout out to all the SM scholars who are watching us right now. Good morning to you all. And let's watch this video about one of SM Foundation scholars. Her name is Erin May B. Evangelio, and she is taking up accounting at the Mikawayan College. Let's watch this.
Dito po kami nakatira sa Binuangan, isang isla po sa Cubando. Ang pangunahing trabaho po talaga dito ng mga tao ay pangingisda. So, si Papa po, nung may bangka pa po kami, siya po yung nangingisda po siya sa laot. Yung mahuhuli niya po, ipapandagdag po yun din sa tinitinda po ni Mama sa Marilao. Nung nag-pandemic po, mahirap kasi di ba po nag-lockdown. So, mga ilang buwan po nung natigil si Mama magtinda sa Marilao. Kaya ang inaasahan lang po namin ng papa ko. Tapos during that time din po, wala na po kami bangkanan kasi binenta na po para may panggastos po kami nung pandemic. Kasi nga po, wala pong pumapasok sa aming kita, hindi po nakapagtinda si Mama.
Nakiusap po ako na kung pwede po makipesa sa peso nila sa palengke. Pag po Sabado, Linggo, doon po kami nagtitinda.
Yung kinikita nila, minsan po hindi po sumasapat sa amin. Pag hindi po mabili, yung natitira, inuwi po nila sa amin, po inuulam namin. Dati po, nung hindi pa po ito na tataasan, umaabot po talaga ng hita po yung tubig po sa amin. So, ang hirap din po pag maglilimas kasi naubos po yung tambak po namin na lupa. Siyempre, pag malaki po yung tubig, mahirap po gumalaw. Lalo na po pag may pasok, magbasa po kami, kaya gano'n. Bata po ako. Naranasan ko po na pumasok po talaga ng eskwela na wala po akong baon. And then, nung pandemic, mahirap po kasi lahat po kami kailangan po ng gadgets. So, nag-aagawan po kami sa computer pag gagawa. Tapos, sa cellphone po namin, hiram-hiram lang din po. Nakikita ko po si Mama umiiyak kasi sasabihin niya po wala pong panggagastos. Tapos dumating po sa point na nag-away po yung parents ko financially. Tapos nasabay pa po na may sakit po yung kapatid ko. So muntik na po silang maghiwalay noon. So bilang panganay at anak, ang sakit po sa akin nun kasi dahil po sa financial problem, masira po yung pamilya ko. Niiyakan ko po sila kasi siyempre po ayoko po kasing maghiwalay po sila. Pinangako ko po sa sarili ko, iaahon ko po sila sa kahirapan. Gusto ko po mamumuhay po sila ng komportable at hindi na po namin po problemahin financially. Since kinder po, top honor na po ako. Nung nag-elementary po ako, gumraduate po ako ng valedictorian. And then, nung junior high school, graduate po ako with honors. And then, senior high school po with high honors.
Nung nag-aaral pa lang po ng high school niyan, lagi na po ako naghanap sino kayo magtutulong sana kung magpaaral. Kasi magka-college, mahirap talaga magpaaral ng college. Totoo po yun. Sabi ko sana, mayroong anghel sa langit.
Nalaman ko po yung SM scholarship program sa Facebook po. Nung nabasa ko po yung mga benefits na mabibigay po ng SM, maganda po kasi full tuition na, tapos bayad po yung miscellaneous fees, tapos meron pa pong summer job and Christmas job. Yun po talaga yung pinakagusto ko po doon. Para kahit pa paano po, bakasyon, meron po akong ginagawa, kuha na rin po ako ng experience bago po ako magtrabaho po talaga. Naka-receive po ako ng email po na sabi po, schedule na po sa exam. Doon po ako nag-exam sa bahay po ng kaibigan ko. Nanghiram po ako ng laptop po doon. And then after po noon, naka-receive po ako ng email po na pumasa daw po ako sa exam. And then scheduled na po ng interview. Via Zoom lang po yung interview. And then doon na rin po ginanap yung sa virtual house tour. Pinagdadasal ko na po na sana po makapasa po talaga ako kasi sobrang laking tulong po ng scholarship po sa akin at sa pamilya ko. Sobrang proud po ng parents ko sa akin nung nalaman po nila na pumasa po ako sa scholarship. Ang kukunin ko pong course ay BS Accountancy sa May Kawayan College po. Bata pa lang po ako, ini-imagine ko na po yung sarili ko nagtatrabaho sa corporate world. Gusto ko rin po magtayo ng sarili ko pong foundation.
Papasalamat po kami talaga sa SM Foundation, sa C-Family po. Kundi po dahil sa inyo, hindi po kami sigurado kung mapapag-aaral po namin sa Erin, sa mga school. Paano po, marami pa po kayo matulungan, nakagaya po namin.
Makatapos lang yung anak ko, masaya na ako. Para sa akin, naligaya na po ako na makita sila na matagumpay na.
Thank you po sa SM Foundation at sa C-Family sa pagbibigay po ng scholarship na ito po sa akin. Isa po itong malaking karangalan at oportunidad na ipinagkaloob niyo po sa akin at sa pamilya. Ako po si Erin May D. Evangelio, ang isa sa mga pinalad na makapasa sa SM College Scholarship Program para sa taong ito.
Okay, thank you for sharing your story, Erin, and we wish you all the best in your studies. Thank you to Miss Linda for your presentation earlier, and we'll go back to you later, promise. Okay, before we move on to the next speaker, let me tell you what we have lined up for you. We will be giving away a an overnight stay at any Eurotel branch and gift checks from Winford Manila Resort and Casino. Stay tuned and I will give you my question very soon. Okay? Our third speaker was supposed to be Bishop Jose Colin M. Bagaforo. Unfortunately, he had to attend to an important meeting this morning. Replacing him is the current head of Communications and Partnership Development Office of Caritas Philippines. She is also its coordinator for ecology advocacies and leads the program development team of Caritas Filipinas. She is the main proponent of the Digital PH project, a digitization project of community disaster maps that integrate sustainability and development platforms. It was also named one of the 8 best humanitarian innovations in the world by the Humanitarian Innovation Fund in 2017. In 2018, her Disasters and Emergencies Preparedness Project with the Diocese of Isabela Social Action Center was named one of the best community managed DRR programs in Asia. Here is Ms. Jing Ray Henderson. Good morning, Ms. Jing.
Good morning, Miss Anne, and thank you very much again for to Philippines Graphics and Business Mirror for inviting Caritas Philippines here in the. I think this is our second year
That's right.
joining this online webinar. On behalf of Bishop Colin Bagaforo, our National Director, and Father Tony Labiao, our Executive Secretary, again. We are very happy to be here, and thank you also. Good morning to our to my co-presenters. It is always a pleasure to be in the same room, in a way, with all the foundations in the Philippines. Before we dive into what Caritas Philippines has done to respond to the COVID-19 pandemic, we'd like to share with you first who Caritas Philippines is. I would like to request our slides. So, next, please. In 1966, Caritas Philippines is founded or was founded by the Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines. It was followed by the establishment of the 85 diocesan social action centers in the country, thus Caritas Philippines becoming its national secretariat. Then it became a member of Caritas Internationalis in 1975. Caritas Internationalis is a global confederation of at least 168 Catholic charity organizations. So, looking at the Philippine map, you will see how Caritas Philippines is invested and embedded in all the provinces, municipalities, cities, barangays, and even sitios in the country, always ensuring that wherever the most vulnerable Filipino families and communities are, their Caritas Philippines and the social action networks, helping and providing services before, during, and after every humanitarian crisis, following our Caritas promise of leaving no one behind. So essentially, kami po yung parang structurally, makikita po ninyo na parang kapareho natin yung structure ng Philippine government. So this is also the value or the very core of our mandate in implementing the humanitarian development and advocacy works of Caritas Philippines and the Catholic Church in general. Next slide, please. So, when we talk about the Bohol earthquake in 2013 or the Typhoon Yolanda in the same year, we have also the Taal eruption in 2020 or the COVID-19 pandemic in the same year. Caritas Philippines and our social action centers and our partners are present. Let me have this one by one. So, for the works of mercy, or this is what we call the humanitarian works of Caritas Philippines and the Social Action Network, we also started in 2014 the integration of humanitarian responses with long term development programs to ensure that we will not be going back to provide the same kinds of interventions to the same communities. Mainly because our communities already have been able to bounce back better, safer, and more sustainably. So pareho po ng sinabi natin or ni Bishop Manolo de los Santos ng Diocese of Verac, it is always good for us if we would be able to provide them, our communities, especially those affected by big typhoons, with shelters or houses. But it would be better or it is best if we will be able to provide them with a very good house which in which typhoons will never or will not be able to destroy for a number or a longer period of time. So that's what we mean by not going back to these communities giving the same interventions. For our works of development, Caritas Philippines has also improved and strengthened all the works that we do, especially for sustainable agriculture and natural farming. We also do programs for savings mobilization, especially of women, because we know that having particularly with a financial freedom, especially at home, it would be able, or we will be able to help build leaders or create leaders in our women on these subjects. Caritas Philippines also has improved and strengthened for our works of justice, our good governance, justice and peace, and ecology advocacies and programs. In collaboration with our Caritas Philippines Academy, the Eco Convergence National and Regional Hubs, and our community partners, we have maintained our strong stance to promote sustainable development, especially on our ecology. That's our campaign against mining, coal financing, and coal fired power plants and other extractive industries. So this is how Caritas Philippines has been doing its programs all these years since 1966. So going back to our COVID-19 response, uh, 2022 is a year of transition for Caritas Philippines. Thus, we would like to be very honest in accepting the fact that we are not prepared to respond when the pandemic reached the country. For starters, we do not have the funds and technical resources to take off a nationwide humanitarian response. But God is always good. So, next slide, please. When we were doing our work from home um, program during that time, because as I have mentioned, there is an uncertainty and we do not really know what will happen in the next several months. So all of us at Caritas Philippines were actually sent home in a way, so that we would be able to really be with our families when the pandemic really put root in the Philippines. So for myself, in March 2022, we formed in Sorsogon the Kindness Station. This is a very simple way of trying to help people or trying to help our neighbors. And then when we were able to take it off in the whole province, we shared the idea of the Kindness Station with Caritas Philippines. And this is where the Alay Kapwa sa Pamayanan, or the Caritas Kindness Stations, were given birth. So we just actually followed the original concept of the Kindness Station, which is give what you can, take what you need, and spare some for others, believing that generosity, kindness, and compassion would be very alive, especially in our communities. Next slide, please. So with the Caritas Kindness Stations, we were able to set up in more than 50 dioceses. So when you try to look at this, it is really the communities putting in their share of whatever they have, so that other people, other families would have something on their table for a day. So we were able to really provide a visual example of what compassion is, or what respect for human dignity means. We were able to, in a way, assert an institutional kindness in across all the social action centers, across all the dioceses. And by our generosity, we were able to really follow and start off with what are the locally resourced products that we are able to also provide in our kindness stations. Apart from the kindness stations, we also believe in helping our local farmers, our local fishermen, the small and medium social enterprise owners, where which we have always been supporting in the past. So that gave birth to our Caritas Kindness Stores. The concept was actually the idea of the Diocese of San Carlos. The Kindness Store is actually not only to help our local producers, but also to make sure that local economy is working, so that even during the pandemic, we will be able to cope with the so-called economic crisis. So next slide, please. With only a meager of 30,000 pesos when we started off our kindness stations, remember that we do not have the money. So with only a 30,000 peso seed funding for each of the 10 dioceses who started off, who listened and responded, believed in the concept of the kindness station, from 30,000 pesos in 2021, for example, we were able to record over 100 million pesos worth of donations from all over, not only here in the Philippines, but all over the world, sharing the concepts of kindness, generosity, and compassion. So from 10 kindness stations, we were able to have 150 plus kindness stations nationwide, and we're able to mobilize 2,000 plus volunteers in 63 dioceses. Next slide, please. So, for example, we would like to just share you how much we were able to get from locally resourced donations. This is example from the Diocese of Cabanatuan. So, for the period of June 2020 to June 2021, in a span of 1 year, they were able to really have 24 million pesos worth of donations, not from big corporations, from big foundations, but from small families and communities in the area who are just willing to help in whatever way they can, in whatever way possible, just so they can lift one family from hunger, from poverty at the time. So during the COVID pandemic, our strategic partners have also grown. So this is not only about the Caritas Kindness stations. Um, Aside from the stations and the stores, we were also able to get Filipinos vaccinated through our partnerships with the Unilab Foundation, the local government units, the Department of Health, even academe like the Far Eastern University and the World Health Organizations. So, next slide, please. This is the most beautiful thing that happened during the pandemic. We always say that at the time when places of worship are closed, and even when our bishops or the churches are broke, it is when the Church of the Poor, the Catholic Church in the Philippines, is most alive and the richest. Not because we have the money for it, not because we have the resources for it, but because people have opened up their homes, people have opened up their doors to help each other. So, realizing that we are now ready to harness our partnership development, resource mobilization, and capacity development to the next level, we launched last year our Ally Kapwa sa Caritas Philippines Legacy Stewardship Programs. These are the programs on educational assistance for academically challenged school children. Kabaliktaran po ito ng programa ng SM Foundation for Bright Children. We also have community schooling for employment-ready youth and young adults. We have also launched the family feeding program. Of course, we are continuing with our humanitarian response. We are strengthening our livelihoods and food security programs. And again, we have essentially innovated our good governance and justice and peace programs. We would like to also welcome you to our Caritas Philippines Academy here in Tagaytay, which is the lead in our institutional capacity development programs, and also the ecology advocacy and programs which I had. We would be having a Caritas Philippines Bike for Kalikasan this October 8th from the Manila Cathedral to the La Mesa Dam Nature Reserve Park. The bike will be starting at 5 o'clock in the morning. So we are inviting everyone who's watching who are bikers or bike enthusiasts or just plain lovers of nature. You can go to La Mesa Dam and then also share with us and experience also bamboo planting, because we on that date October 8th we will be also launching our Caritas Bamboo Forest project. So, this is Caritas Philippines, and this is who we are. That we are hoping that you will join even in just one of our Alay Kapwa Legacy Stewardship programs. So, on behalf of the 85 dioceses who are also watching at the moment, they are also the member of our Social Action Network. On behalf of our National Director, Bishop Jose Colin Bagaforo of the Diocese of Kidapawan, and our Executive Secretary, Father Tony Labiao of the Diocese of Novaliches, on behalf of the communities we serve, we are Caritas Philippines. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Jing, for that presentation, and we'll come back to you for during our question and answer portion. Okay. So the next segment is all about San Miguel Foundation, the corporate social responsibility arm of San Miguel Corporation. Founded in 1972, San Miguel Foundation has extensive experience in development work, backed by a team of CSR specialists with expertise in mass communication, business, administration, social work, development studies, and social entrepreneurship. The foundation focuses on community, environment, and capacity building. On its 50th year, let's take a look at the foundation's work in their Better World community centers and backyard bukid. The video features the foundation's work in Better World Tondo, which is a feeding and learning center, Better World Diliman, which serves as a marketplace for excess produce, and Backyard Bukid, where San Miguel maintenance staff and security personnel, employees, and economic frontliners were offered the opportunity to gain a deeper understanding of urban gardening as well as financial and business literacy. Let's watch this.
Pangarap ko'y tumulong sa ating kababayan. Saan nga ba ko magsisimula? Kailangan natin ng pagbabago. Sama-sama tayo sa pag-angat. Ang hiling ko mula sa puso, walang iwanan hanggang dulo. Ako'y kikilos sa muntik kong paraan. Ngayon na natin sisimulan. We are the future of our nation. Create the world we want. Hawak kamay sa paglalakbay. Create the world we want. Abutin ang mga pinapangarap. Create the world we want. Sama-sama may pag-asa. Create the world we want. 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 We are the future of our nation. Create the world we want. Hawak kamay sa paglalakbay. Create the world we want. Abutin ang mga pinapangarap. Create the world we want. Sama-sama may pag-asa. Create the world we want. Create the world we want.
Okay, thank you so much for that video. And now we proceed to the question and answer portion. Let's call back Miss Linda and Miss Jing. Unfortunately, Miss Lotis had to leave because she had a meeting. So it's just the three of us, mga madam. Okay, I have a question here for the both of you. Wait lang ha. Phone-in question po ito eh. Shy siya eh. Ito po. Okay. How do guidelines or the actions of the government agencies affect the movement of the foundations? Ay, di ba, ma'am, you work very closely with the government. So how are their policies affecting the way you move? Meron ba?
Uh, Anne, could you please repeat the question? It was
How
quite
do,
garbled.
sige po,
Yes. How do?
how do guidelines or the actions by the government agencies affect the movement of the foundation?
What did you say? By the which what agency? By the what was the word that
Government,
described the
government agencies.
ah
Di ba po you work very closely with them?
affect?
How do they affect
Yes.
the way you work as a foundation?
Okay. Me first.
Meron. Yes, well, go ahead po.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Well, we are always guided by the protocols, the guidelines. The guidelines are released by government, of course, because we know that these guidelines are, to ensure, no, to ensure that we we move as one. We move with the government as one. So when they have protocols like that, especially during the pandemic, we were really dependent on the information that we received from the government agencies. So we just followed as best as we could. Like for example, if when they declared a quarantine period, we had to adjust. Even the company had to adjust, of course.
Mhm.
And uh, but we still continued with our program. For example, I give you an example of the where there was no there where we were not allowed to travel to
Yeah.
to 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 yeah, to travel through various modes of transportation, no matter. We were able to continue with the scholarship program. Why? Because we went to the digital system already. That's why we were able to conduct, when we were looking for scholars, when we were already at our end stage, we were looking at uh, determining already, identifying our scholars from the applicants received. We were able to conduct online exams, interview, and even visited their houses through the online system.
Mhm.
So we continued. In other words, we did not stop, so that we were able to recruit the scholars, the number of scholars we needed, all in all, until the time that we identified the scholars. We conducted also online assemblies, online meetings, and then we were able to award the certificates of enrollment to our scholars. We were able to talk to them. In other words, we just continued with our work, and making use of the best tools that we had, and we were able to accomplish. And then we also, even during the scholarship, during the time that our scholars were also doing online schooling, we were able to communicate with them because also of the online tools, so that their problems, whatever issues they had, we were able to handle that. We were able to address
Okay.
their these challenges.
Okay.
We were able to talk to the schools too.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Linda.
Yes.
How about for Caritas, Miss Jing? Any
Ms.
problem?
Anne, for Caritas Philippines, we always recognize that the government is our mandated agency to provide us with all the regulations, the protocols.
Mhm.
And so, if we are seeing that these protocols might hinder the program implementation that we have in, especially as the communities, then dito po pumapasok ngayon yung ating coordination and collaboration with the different government agencies. So, dahil nandun naman tayo sa baba, nakalatag tayo, may mga kausap tayo ng mga barangay officials, municipal officials, hanggang at the national level, even at the IITF level, we would be we would coordinate with them just so that they would know also bakit kinakailangan nating pumunta sa probinsya, pumunta sa mga communities. They would also recognize the importance of not delaying the assistance that we are providing. Kasi for example, when Typhoon Rolly happened in the Bicol region, hindi po pwedeng pigilin mo yung humanitarian response only because we have COVID. Mas madaming maguguto, mas madaming maaapektuhan, and it will just exacerbate the condition of the people if hindi tayo gagalaw. So, dito din pumapasok yung ating creativity at saka yung pagiging bukas not only of the Catholic Church but also of the government to really dialogue with each other and then navigate through the protocols so that we would be able to provide the service that's needed by our communities.
Okay, thank you, Miss Jing. Here's a question for the both of you from our editor-in-chief of Philippines Graphic, Miss Psyche Rojas Mendoza. How can the
Excellent.
public help support the work of your foundations?
Oh, a lot, a
Yeah.
lot.
Uh,
Now, the public can, we have a lot of tools, ways to do that. The public can write us if they have, if they have, if they think what we're doing is right, or if they think that they have further issues regarding the implementation of our program. They're free to, they're free to talk to us, to communicate with us, and through the high psyche. Nice to see Psyche. Okay, and and then they can always communicate with us. We have really done open communications with all our, with the public, and with all our stakeholders.
Thank you, Miss Jing.
Yes.
How can the
For
public help
Caritas
support us?
Yes po, Miss Anne. For Caritas Philippines, thank you, Miss Saiki. Hello ulit po, parang ang tagal na nating hindi nagkita. For Caritas Philippines, the primary that we would like to request from everybody, from the public, is just to do good every single day. Lahat po ng kabutihan na gagawin ninyo, be kind, be generous, be compassionate to each and everybody, then it would really mean a lot for us already to lessen the impacts of poverty, of hunger, of difficult times in the country, especially. Also, we would like you to share and then follow, like our social media pages so that you would be able to also know what are the things that's being done by Caritas Philippines. You'll know where also to help, di ba? Talent, time, talent, and treasure. You can always have this, share this with everybody and with Caritas Philippines, especially now that during the pandemic, we realized na hindi pala natin kinakailangang umasa sa labas sa mga foreign funding institutions to support everything that we wanted. For Caritas Philippines now, nag-shift bigla. Dati, 100% all of our programs are being funded by foreign institutions. But now, like 60-70% of the programs that we have are funded by the Filipino people. So maraming maraming salamat po.
Okay, thank you. There's another one here. Um, here from Al Galang. How do SM Foundation and Caritas measure the cost effectiveness of each of their projects? For every centavo spent, how much is the effective gain for the beneficiary from a metrics point of view? Measurable.
There are there are some the features of projects which are really measurable. We have data for that, so we know whether you're doing well or not, whether we're within budget or not.
Mhm.
And also there's the, the SWD requires us foundations to account for every donation that we receive, and we make sure that we follow that, because we can only spend, if when for donations
Mhm.
received, we can only spend 30% for admin, meaning for administrative cost, but the rest should be spent on the program. That's also by law. We have to follow that. Now, within ourselves internally, we measure every time we conduct a program. We have a budget for that. So while we execute it, everything we we measure really how much we spend. We're also very conscious because we know that we are not we are not really producing, we're not really generating revenues, but with whatever donations we receive, which whatever help that support that our company gives us for our corporate social work, we fulfill that. And we also measure our performance every year. Our performance is measured by ourselves and also by the company.
Okay. For Caritas, Miss Jing.
So that's how we
Okay. Thank you, Miss
Yes
Linda.
po. Thank you, Sir Al, for the question. For Caritas Philippines, in an economic point of view, for example po, you provided us with 100 pesos for a scholar, para doon po sa aming academically challenged scholars. The return para po doon sa ating mga beneficiaries, because in most cases pag sinasabi natin na okay, this would become going to our scholarship program, meron kasi pong mga kasabay, mga add-ons doon sa program na hindi nakikita, in a way hindi na-advertise even for us. For example, yung 100 pesos supposedly would be coming would be going only to one scholar para sa kanyang, for example, tuition fee, because that's the usual. Pero for a scholar, ang kanyang value addition is that with 100 pesos, he will be able to go to school. There would be a tutor na available for him. There would be a gadget na he can use or she can use para sa pag-aaral niya. There would be a family session para sa buong pamilya, so that everybody would recognize and know kung paano ang kahalagahan hindi lamang ng edukasyon, but yung pagtutulungan ng buong pamilya para mapag-aral ang bata. There would also be sessions on financial education, on savings mobilization, on good citizenry. There would also be sessions on how to set up backyard vegetable garden. So that's how we are measuring the effectiveness of the 100 pesos that you are providing for each scholar. So ganun po ka-meticulous din na tinitingnan talaga natin kung papaanong yung bawat donation or bawat na ibibigay ng lahat ng tao for each of the programs of Caritas Philippines, yung value nito, especially for our partners, we call our beneficiaries our partners, hindi lamang para doon sa isa na pinatutunguhan, ina-advertise natin, but for all the other value-added components of the program.
Okay.
Yun po.
Thank you, Miss Jing. This one is for Miss Linda from Carrie Dre. Good
yes.
morning po for Miss Linda. I have two nieces and both are in college. How can we apply for the scholarship and what are the requirements po? And then the same question then from Dennis Guevara for some, how can we become a SM scholar? Ano
Okay.
po yung criteria?
Okay. For the one who's for Carrie, no, the one who sent this, the one who has two nieces and both are in college. I'd like to inform you that we take our scholars from the freshman, from the first year. That's why we have an announcement every year. We announce towards the end of the quarter, and ends towards the end of the last quarter of the year. We send notices via Facebook and by publication, because we are getting first years. Those are going to be to enter college. So our sources are the senior high school graduates from public schools. Okay, this is one criteria. And then two, there's the grade that we are looking at. We're looking at an average of 88% for the last semester of of senior high, or first or last semester also of uh, grade grade 11, because usually the grades in for the grade school are not for the grade 12 students are not available at the time that when we start the recruitment. So that one. And of course we look at the aside from the grades, now we look also at the income of the family, the the uh, that total annual income, combined annual income of the household should at most be only up to 150,000 a year. In other words, there is a sector that from which we would like to source our scholars. Because sabihin yung mga hindi makaka-afford talaga sa college, yun ang hahanap. Doon kami maghahanap ng scholars. So really, for the first question, ang tinatanggap namin ay first year, incoming first year.
Incoming first year lang po. So when they're in college na, hindi na po
Yes, yes.
pwede. Okay. Ito,
Oo. Kasi baka meron naman mga ibang mga foundations na tumatanggap ng mga
yeah.
mid-year na. Kasi yung ibang foundations gusto nila towards the end na. Kami from the start. Kasi marami pa kaming mga pinapasok na requirements. I mean, na training aside from aside from their school curriculum, kami meron din kasi we also want them to be from the start already to prepare them for work
Okay.
at the
Thank you,
time
Ms.
they graduate. So marami kami mga trainings, diba?
Okay. For
Yes.
Miss Jing, hello. How can we donate sa Caritas Manila? Pwede ba namin sabihin kung saan namin institution siya ilalagay? Can we
Um,
force donations through you for other purposes? Tama po ba? Yung tanong.
Yes po. For Caritas Philippines, you can donate through us. And then, kung sabi ko kanina po, meron tayong 7 Alay Couple Legacy Programs. Kung saan po ninyo gustong ibigay yung inyong donations, be it for our educational assistance program, for our family feeding, for ecology, for good governance, and for humanitarian response, pwede po ninyong ipadala yan sa atin, sa Caritas Philippines. We have our social media pages po where you can get our bank account details kung paano po kayo makakapag-donate also. Thank you.
Okay. Another question from Ma'am Psyche for Miss Linda. As mentioned in its website, the League
Yes.
of Corporate Foundations is the network of the largest operating and grant-making corporate foundations and corporations in the Philippines. The SM Foundation is a member of the LCF. Thus, how many corporations
Yes.
are
Yes.
under the LCF, and can you brief us a little on what it has done over the years?
Okay, I can remember because I chaired, I was a president of the League of Corporate Foundations years back, but now I don't know I know that they have there are about almost 100, or if they've already reached 100, but from last I learned there are almost 100 members. Okay, the League of Corporate Foundations is also it it has one of the functions of the League of Corporate Foundations is also to get all the members are mostly the members are corporate foundations. Most of them are members from corporate foundations, and then there are projects also that they do in collaboration with the other in with the other similar
Okay.
network or similar networks, no? That's and then they even in the LCF has also its own committees like program for health, for the environment. So yung mga members doon coming from the League of Corporate Foundations themselves are also members in the committees under the league. So pwedeng may mga health programs, marami din silang mga social programs. And of course, aside from that, they provide trainings. Merong trainings on CSR. Meron silang mga sessions. And this train especially those newly formed corporate foundations. Pwedeng I think I'm not really updated on their latest pero meron silang CSR sessions. 1, 2, 3, parang nagbibigay sila ng sessions sa mga newly formed corporations and formed corporate foundations on sessions on corporate social responsibility where for a small fee very nominal fee, pwede mag-train yung kanilang, mga kanilang, the company's staff who are involved in CSR. Yeah, training, and they also provide information on the status of the contributions of the members of the League of Corporate Foundations to the to the uh, let's say to a particular program. Like they hold surveys on especially on education and health and environment. May mga surveys din sila dyan.
Next,
Okay.
next question para kay Ma'am Linda pa rin. Paano po kung galing
Mm.
na senior high school na private but still under scholarship? Hindi na po ba
Okay.
pasok sa criteria?
Ganito,
Since yung
ganito. Kung under because the sector that we're looking for, yung galing talaga sa public high schools. Public
okay.
high schools, no? Supposing sila ay itong public high schools nagbibigay yan. Hindi naman lahat ng public high schools ay for senior. Kuminsan nagkukulang din yung in some areas nagkukulang din yung facilities para magtatag ng senior high school, yung isang public high school. So meron silang ini-issue ng mga vouchers. Tapos
Yes.
yung mga vouchers ay pwede nilang ipe-present para mag-aral sila sa, let's say, 11 and 12 sa private. Yon pwede yan sa amin. Sa aming questions, they can go to our website. Marami yan, marami pa. Kasi I'm sure marami pa silang questions.
Opo, sige ma'am.
Ah,
Can you
ah,
tell us more about your mga sustainability projects nyo? Ms. Jing, di ba you were one of the spearheaders to the Digital Philippines? Can you tell
Sino?
us more about that? Si Ma'am Jing po. Si Miss Jing,
Yes,
about yung
Ah,
sustainability program.
yes po. The Digital PH program is actually an innovation. Firstly, we thought of doing this as our part of our humanitarian response. Kasi kinakailangan po natin, 'di ba, at the onset of a typhoon, for example, or an emergency, dapat alam na natin kung saang lugar tatama ang bagyo, sa tatamaang lugar na yon, ilang tao yung mga maaapektuhan, ilang population ng mga apektuhan, and of these affected population, ilan yung talagang kakailanganin ng immediate na tulong. So that's what the digital PH is all about. At ang nakakatuwa po dito because we were able to really, like, for example, pilot it in one of the areas in Leyte. Pagkatapos nakita po talaga natin na we can actually, from humanitarian response, yung binabanggit ko kanina po na integration nito papunta sa development program, because now we can also see, okay, etong bahay na to, pinagawa ng Caritas Philippines. We'll take a picture and then also upload, halimbawa po, ano ang mga materials na ginamit sa paggawa ng bahay na ito, how much ang ginamit na pera para ipagawa yung bahay. So nakikita parang sa amin, we value very much yung accountability not only to our donors but especially to the communities. Kaya makikita po ninyo agad-agad na, okay, pag sinabi namin na we were able to construct 7,000 houses for Typhoon Yolanda, for example, then you'll see kung saan ang mga bahay na ito at hindi siya drawing. So that's how the sustainability part of the projects or the programs that we do. Also, for example, ngayong Typhoon Odette, madami yung mga bahay na nabag down, di ba? Tapos hindi naman po lahat ay po pwede nating paggawan ng mga permanent houses. So yung mga binigyan po natin, for example, ng emergency shelter kits, binigyan din po natin sila ng capacity building, carpentry, masonry, para lang malaman nila kung papaanong gawin yung mas resilient na bahay. So that if there comes a time na kaya na nilang bumili or magpagawa ng bahay, then they'll know already kung gaano dapat, paano yung pagpako, paano yung pagkabit ng mga everything sa pag-construct ng bahay. So, ganun po, para we were able to really integrate kung ano yung nexus natin doon sa humanitarian programming lang, which is very short term, 3 months, 6 months, to a more long-term programming, which is 1 year hanggang 15 years. And that's how we are looking also in all of the programs that we do.
Okay. Ma'am Linda, your latest project
Mm.
was yung installation po ng solar panels, di ba po? Doon sa isang
Yes.
school sa
Maxion,
Batangas.
Maxion, yes. Sa
Can you tell us
isang
more
school
about it?
sa
Uh-uh. Can you tell us more about that? And can we expect more of such projects?
we're hoping that that the donor can also
Uh,
extend to extend its program. Although very positive ang results niya na kasi
mhm.
nakaka-save sila sa electric power, no?
Uh-huh.
Tapos yung nagagamit yung mga bata, yung mga syempre yung pag sa pag-charge nila ng kanilang
Okay.
telepono, ng mga ganon, sa eskwela, pwede, no? At
Mhm.
saka may battery kasi, may storage kasi dyan. Kaya kahit pag brown out, gano'n, nakakatulong. Malaking tulong yan. Saka hindi lang sa eskwela itself, but for the students kasi sa pag-aaral nila, importante. No? Getting to realize,
Miss
and I hope it progresses.
Okay.
Miss Anne, okay lang po ba na mag-add din ako on that note? Because one of the ecology advocacies now of Caritas Philippines is on just renewable energy transition.
Mhm.
Meaning to say from coal, from other dirty energy sources,
Energy.
gusto natin talagang pumunta doon sa clean energy, which ang
Mhm.
solar po ay isa. We would like to inform everybody po watching na uh, may posibleng gawin yung ganito in a very mas I think mas affordable, accessible na paraan. For example, yung Diocese of Maasin po sa Leyte, Leyte Summer area is the first diocese in the whole Philippines and I think in Asia who's able to solarize itself. So
Oh,
lahat ng yung diocese, yung simbahan, yung kumbento, yung mga schools are all solar operated already.
oh,
And
that's
San Carlos also in Visayas, sa
Cebu.
Negros ay meron na din po, and then several other dioceses across the Philippines. So we are trying to pilot and then to also say to the government, pasensya na po, haluan ko muna ng konting advocacy ito. This is what we are saying to the government, that if we are serious in our energy transition program, especially yung renewable energy law natin, then possible po. We just have to be more politically motivated to do these things.
okay. Thank you, Miss Jing. I think we'll be almost running over time. I'd like to ask you for your future plan siguro. And if you have any activities coming up, you can also invite our audience. Miss Linda, your closing message, please, for our audience. Closing message po.
What I ex- pardon, what you were saying?
Uh, I'd like to ask for your
What were you
closing.
saying, Anne?
I would
Something.
like to. I'd like to ask for your closing message po. Kasi patapos na po tayo. We're running out of time.
Yes, okay.
Mm.
Okay. Thank you very much for for hosting this very valuable program, not only for us but for all your listeners. And thank you for make giving this opportunity, giving SM Foundation this opportunity to share with you our story and what the programs that we're having and that we're going to conduct in the future. We will be announcing from time to time, and just I will invite your listeners to also get in touch with us in the addresses I mentioned, and then so that we can answer more of your questions. But we thank you for listening and for this opportunity to be presenting our story.
Okay. Thank you so much, Miss
So
Linda. Miss Jing, your final message, please. And invite them also to your activity, yung October 8 activity pa po yun.
Yes po, maraming salamat ulit Miss Anne, and again to Philippines Graphics and Business Mirror, thank you very much for always having Caritas Philippines. Inaanyayahan po namin kayo October 8 para sa Bike for Kalikasan ng Caritas Philippines. That would be from Manila Cathedral papunta po sa La Mesa Dam Eco Park para po sa launching din ng ating Caritas Bamboo Forest Project. We would like to also invite everybody para doon suportahan po yung ating Ali Kapwa 7 Legacy Stewardship Programs. And lastly, this is to assure also the public that though Caritas Philippines or the Catholic Church will remain to be critical of whatever it is, especially that would affect the welfare and the condition, the dignity of the Filipino people, we will always be critical, especially to the government. But now we pledge to do a principled cooperation para lamang po masiguro din na hindi mababaliwala at hindi mako-compromise yung mga serbisyo na ibinibigay natin sa ating mga kababayan. This is our part of the Caritas promise of really leaving no one behind, especially po yung mga nasa kaduluduluhan ng Pilipinas ay dapat na maaabot ng ating mga serbisyo. Maraming salamat po sa inyong lahat.
Okay. Thank you to our guests for spending this morning with us. Thank you so much, and we wish you all the best. Thank you so much, Miss Jing. Thank you so much, Miss Linda.
Thank you
Thank you po.
po.
Bye po.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Bye-bye.
Have a nice day.
Yes, same to you po. Bye-bye po. Okay, before we call back our publisher for his closing remarks, here's the segment you have all been waiting for. So instead of asking you a question, just fill in this blank. Okay. The title of today's webinar is Foundations Finding Blank in the Next Normal. Okay. Again, what is that blank? Foundations Finding Blank in the Next Normal. Type in your answer with the hashtag PhilGraphic. Okay? Don't forget the hashtag. Kung hindi kayo kasali. Okay. Sige. To formally end our webinar, let's call back our publisher, Mr. T. Anthony C. Cabangon.
I would like to thank our guests for taking the time out to share their experiences and lessons that they have learned. Thank you to our audience for spending your morning with us. We hope that through this webinar, we would have inspired you all to help support the work that these foundations do. With that, I would like to thank all of our sponsors and hope to see you again soon in our next webinar.
And now, here is the segment that you have all been waiting for. It's giveaway time. So, we will be giving away the following: €1 overnight stay at any of their branches, and 2,000 pesos worth of gift certificates from Winford Manila Resort and Casino. Yung hashtag nyo, wag kalimutan. It's hashtag PhilGraphic. Let's give them a little more time para makasali na po sila lahat. Yung hashtag nyo, wag kalimutan. Don't forget. Are you ready na, Ed? Pero marami na ba? Marami na ba? Kaya na ba? Ayan na. Pwede na. Okay, so let's give away muna 2,000 pesos worth of gift certificate from Winford Manila Resort and Casino. Okay na tayo? Yan. Yung may fanfare naman. Okay, for Winford. That's the answer, meaning hashtag PhilGraphic. And our first winner for the 2,000 pesos worth of gift certificates is Carol Aguilar Villanueva. Congratulations, Carol. Villanueva. Okay. Second winner, sino kaya? May sigaw ng sigaw sila. Okay, that's our second winner for the same gift certificates. Noel Mary. Congratulations, Noel. And our third winner for the 2,000 pesos worth of gift certificates from Winford is. And the winner is. Ay, muntik na. Rich Espena. Congratulations, Rich. And now for the one Eurotel overnight stay at any of their branches, the winner is. And the winner is JN Francia. Congratulations, JN. Okay, please wait for one of our colleagues to get in touch with you regarding the giveaway. For our next webinar, this has been your host, Andrew De La Cruz. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the day.